there, it's Diane. Welcome to my basement. Today we're going to be working on the classification of solids. So if you have your workbook, go ahead and open to page 13. Let's begin. Well, if we're going to classify solids, if we're going to put them into categories, we should know what a solid is. In math, we say that a solid is a three-dimensional geometric figure. Three-dimensional just means it has a length, a width, and a height. Solids can be classified, so we can put them into two different categories. We can say they have curved bodies, and we can say that they're either a curved body or a polyhedron. So if I have two categories, a curved body and a polyhedron, I need to know what those two categories mean. Let's look at curved bodies first. A solid that has a curved body needs to have at least one curved surface. For example, cones, like an ice cream cone, cylinders, like a can of tomato sauce, and spheres, like a ball. Do you understand what curved bodies are? Excellent. Let's move on. The other category of a solid is called a polyhedron. Polyhedrons only have plane surfaces. What does that mean, plane? Does it fly in the air? No, a plane surface just means like a flat surface. Does that make sense to you? All of these shapes have plane surfaces. They're flat. It doesn't mean that they're decorated. It just means that it has a flat surface. Prisms and pyramids are polyhedrons. They are characterized by the number of faces, edges, and vertices that they have. So I have two categories, curved bodies, and under curved bodies we have cones, cylinders, and spheres, or we have polyhedrons. Polyhedrons have plane surfaces, so they have flat surfaces, and some polyhedrons include prisms and pyramids. Let's look at polyhedrons here. So polyhedrons, we can divide them even further into prisms and pyramids. If you look to the right of your page, it gives you definitions. And that's really important. So let's look at just prisms. Prisms, we know, are polyhedrons, right? So they're polyhedrons that are formed by two identical and parallel faces called bases. So here we have two triangles. Here we have two rectangles that are bases. Here we have two squares that are the base. And a cube also has two squares that are the bases. The other faces are parallelograms. And if you remember, a parallelogram has four sides and two pairs of parallel sides. Whew! It's a lot of words, but I think once you start building the shapes and when you start looking at shapes, it'll be more visual for you and you'll understand. So what makes prisms different than pyramids are that pyramids are polyhedrons, but they only have one base. Remember, prisms have two bases. Pyramids only have one base. The other faces that go around it, the other faces, they're always triangles, and they come together at the same vertex. A vertex is like a point. So let's talk about the three ways that we can characterize our polyhedrons. The three ways that we describe polyhedrons are their faces, edges, and vertices. So you've heard me use the word faces. Faces are the plane sides, or the flat sides. So here, this shape, it's a cube. It has 6 flat sides. Those sides we call faces, and those faces are squares. Now we can also look at edges. An edge is a segment at the intersection of 2 faces. So these 2 edges, they intersect. They intersect. 2 faces. That's an edge. It intersects. This edge here, it intersects 2 faces, 2 different faces. It creates an edge. The vertex is the point at the intersection of at least 2 edges. So these 2 edges, this one has 3 edges, they intersect. That means they meet here at a vertice. So if I'm to hold up this cube, you'll see a face, a face, a face, an edge, and an edge, and they meet at a vertex. Again, let's just practice, and with practice, we will understand that you can classify solids into curved bodies, polyhedrons. Polyhedrons, we can divide them into smaller groups called prisms and pyramids, and we can describe all of our solids based on how many vertices they have, how many edges they have, and how many faces they have. A lot of words, but let's get into this. All right, go ahead and turn your book to page 14. I'm just going to move my shapes out of the way. Here we go. So it says, Sam the gamekeeper caught 7 animals suspected of stealing food and put them in the cages below. So we have the first cage. It has a triangle base and it has 3 triangle sides. So our shape has a triangle base and the 3 sides are all triangles. Great. It has 1 base, so I know that that is a pyramid. It's a triangular pyramid. B, look, it has 1 base. They make the base a little darker for you, so that's nice. Its base is the shape of a square, and all the other sides, the 4 other sides, are triangles. So you have another pyramid. But this is the square pyramid. If you need help with the names, you can turn it back. And on the other page, you'll see square pyramid and triangular pyramid at the bottom of page 13. Let's look at E. Well, C. We can go in order if you'd like. So C, to me, it looks like a tissue box, doesn't it? It has a base of a rectangle, and all of its sides are actually rectangles. What I have nearby is like a crayon box. So you can see that all the sides are rectangles. So a rectangular prism. It has 2 bases that are rectangles. D has a square base, 2 square bases. So that is going to be also a prism. There you go. But the difference with this prism is that it has squares for its base and not rectangles. E is a curved body. E is a cylinder. Like a can, isn't it? F, all the sides are squares. We're going to call that a cube, right? Like a die. If you roll the die, we learned about that the last video. And then you have G here. I don't have that shape. But that's an interesting shape, isn't it? It's a parallelogram. It has 4 sides for each of its sides. That's pretty unique, isn't it? So there you have a G. It's also a prism. Okay, A. They're going to ask us some questions and we have to answer them. They're trying to see if we understand the word edges, vertices, and what's the difference between prisms and pyramids. Here we go. A. Which cage? Remember that this particular problem, they're pretending like these are cages. Which cage has 8 edges? Do you remember what an edge was? What is an edge? An edge is when 2 faces meet. So which one of these shapes have 8 edges? Well, here you have 2. So it's not E. Let's look at A. I'm going to move my shapes out so we can just focus on one. So if we count the edges, you have, it's easier if you look at the vertices here. So you have 1, 2, 3 going around, and then if you flip the bottom, 4, 5, 6. So this one has, if I touch them all, 6. It's not A. Let's look at B. So if I touch them, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 4 coming to the point. Then I look at the bottom, 5, 6, 7, 8. 4 around this point, this vertice. 1 edge, 2 edge, 3 edge, 4 edge. The whole line, right, is an edge. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then along the bottom, 5, 6, 7, 8. This shape has 8 edges. So it's definitely going to be B, but let's keep going. It wasn't A. I know B does. Let's look at C. I'm going to use my crayon box. So already I know I have 1, 2, 3, 4. The other side has 5, 6, 7, 8. But then I have the sides, 9, 10, flip it over, 11, 12. I'm past 8. So it's not C. D, it's exactly the same. It's just stretched differently, right? There's 4 at the top, 4 at the bottom, and 4 going around. So 4 times 3 is 12. Or 4 plus 4 plus 4. 4 3 times. So I know it's not D. We said it wasn't E. F is a cube, so there's 4 at the top, 4 at the bottom, and 4 edges that also go around. So it's not F. G has 4 edges at the top, 4 edges at the bottom, and 4 edges going around. So again, 4 plus 4 plus 4 is going to be 12. So I think it's only cage B. Let's check. I'm correct. Let's look at letter B. Which cage has 5 vertices? What were vertices again? If you don't remember, all you have to do is flip back. Now, they show you the word vertex. And you're going to say, Diane, it says vertex, not vertices. Vertex is the singular form of the word. It just means one. One is vertex. When you talk about more than one, you use the word vertices. Think of the word cherry. Cherry is one, cherries, more than one. So we have vertex, that's one point. It's the point at the intersection of at least two edges. It's just the little top part, or the little sides that meet at that little tiny point. That's a vertex. More than one vertex are vertices. So let's go back. I hope that helped you a little bit. Which cage has 5 vertices? Let's look at A. All you have to do is touch the points. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 vertices, not A. Let's look at B. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hey, that has 5. So it's at least going to be B. Let's check out C. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, that's too many. Gonna stop there. D. 1, 2, 3, 4. The bottom. 5, 6, 7, 8. Too many. E. There are no vertices. F. Let's check out our cube. 1, 2, 3, 4. Guess what? 5, 6, 7, 8. G also has 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Do you think it's just B again? No. Yes, it is. Just B again. What a nice little cage, I guess. It has 8 edges and 5 vertices. Which cage has a triangular base? What was a base? What was a base? Do you remember? When we talked about bases, we talked about the pyramids. Polyhedron that has one base is a pyramid, and a polyhedron that has 2 bases that are parallel are called prisms. So a prism can have a triangular base. It has 2 triangular bases. And a pyramid, a triangular pyramid, can have 1 triangular base. So the question is, which cage has a triangular base? Does A have a triangular base? Yes, it does. It has a triangular base. So A. Let's see, do any of the other bases have triangles, circles, square, rectangle, parallelogram, square? I think it's just going to be A this time. It's just A. Ready to move on? D. Which cages are prisms? Prisms. Don't worry, you can always go back if you don't remember what a prism is. I really think you should go back. There's a lot of definitions, and it's okay to keep checking. So a prism is a polyhedron formed of 2 identical and parallel faces called bases. The other faces are parallelograms. So our prisms, we have triangular prism, rectangular prisms, square prisms, cube. Those are the shapes we're looking for, not the pyramids. We're looking for the shapes that have 2 bases. So which cages are prisms? A has 1 base, so it's not A. B has 1 base. It is not B. C has 2 bases. D has 2 bases. E, is that even a prism? Is it a polyhedron? Do you remember? E is a curved body. it has at least one curved surface. And we said that's cones, cylinders, and spheres. So it's not going to be E. So far, we have C, D, F, that's the cube, and G. It has two bases that are parallel. And they're four sides, right? Parallelogram. So you should have C, D, F, and G. I think you're ready to do the bottom of page 14 on your own. Just practice, right? What I want to do is I want you to look around before you begin 14. If you're at home, if you're at school, look around. What are some geometric shapes, some geometric solids that you see around you? So I'm going to look around me. I've already shown you I had a box of crayons. And we said that the box of crayons is a prism, rectangular prism. Let's see what else I have. Well, I went and collected some things. Oops, for you. I found a can of tomato sauce. So that's going to be a curved body. And it has no vertices. It's got a curved surface. I also found a sphere. It's a ball. Another sphere is a hockey puck. Whee! All right. I found, so this one was a bit tricky for me. This is a rock. It's been cut. So I looked at all of its sides and I found that it had a triangle. You're going to have to use your imagination a bit. So it had a triangle and a triangle. So two triangle, I'm going to call them bases. Two triangle bases. The bottom is a rectangle. Then the side is a rectangle, and this face is a rectangle. So I had three rectangle, I'm going to touch my three rectangle faces, and two triangle bases. What shape is that? First you need to decide, well, it's a polyhedron, so is it going to be a prism? Or is it going to be a pyramid? I remembered that a pyramid has one base and all the other sides are triangles, where this had three different sides or faces that were rectangles. So I figured out, just like you're figuring out, that it is a triangular prism. And then I said, okay, I need to show my students what a pyramid looks like. And I searched, and pyramids are kind of hard to find. But I remembered we went to Mexico and we came back with this little object here. And it's a pyramid from Chichen Itza. And you have to use your imagination, remember. But it has a square, technically, I guess, if a square base, they tried. And then it has triangles. You can sort of see the triangular sides. So I think this is going to be what type of pyramid? A square pyramid. Again, you have to use your imagination, right? It's not perfect. I also found an orange in my house. It's a curved surface. It is a sphere. I had an ice cream cone, but I ate it. Never made it down here. Started to drip. But a cone can be, like this. A cone can be like an ice cream cone if you think of it like this. Or if you're ever in the car or truck or bus, you see those cones that they put out, the orange cones, sort of like this shape. Or if you're in gym class and they put out those cones for you to run around, I guess it's more like that shape. So yeah, just look around your house. See if you can categorize the solids. See if you can put them into different subcategories like pyramids or prisms. Okay, so now that we've done that, one other thing I want us to do, and for this, you are going to need like modeling clay or Play-Doh and toothpicks. If you don't have, don't worry about it. It's fine. You can just watch, get some ideas. So what I did is I made a mess. I love messes. And I ended up making tons of little tiny spheres out of my Play-Doh. And then I pulled out some toothpicks and I made some shapes. So let's look at this. It says making skeleton models. Skeletons are used in building structures. Can you see that? It says teepees have skeleton frameworks. A skeleton is a good model for exploring relationships between edges and vertices of 3D shapes. So here we have Allison's model. It says, I made a skeleton model of a prism with 6 vertices. So her prism has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 vertices. I know it's a little difficult to see. And then Rami's model, he made a skeleton of a pyramid with 6 vertices. So you can have prisms and pyramids both with 6 vertices. So I tried to create what Allison and Rami did. Why don't you try it too? Let's see. You take your little tiny spheres, your little balls, right? And then you put in your toothpicks. So when I made Allison's, I started with my square base. And then dun dun dun. You don't have to do it exactly like I did it. So I started with a square base. What's nice about toothpicks is they're all about the same length. So it's easy to make squares and triangles. If you don't have toothpicks, you can try something like Q-tips. They could work too. Alright, so I made my square base, and then I noticed that she had my square, right, and then she had 2 triangles on the side. She made a prism. So a prism has 2 bases. So let's try my 2 bases. Let's see. And then I went like this. So I made my 2 triangles and then I went together. Okay. My 2 bases are parallel to each other. And then I put in this edge. There you go. So Allison's shape has 6 vertices. 1, 2, 3. The vertices are the little balls. 4, 5, 6. She had how many edges? The edges are going to be your toothpicks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 4 on the bottom. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. What shape did she create? She created a prism with triangle bases. Excellent. Now I'm not going to take the time to show you me putting together Rami's, but I've already created his. So you go ahead and try to create his. His had 6 vertices as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. His base is actually, do you remember the side that has, the shape, sorry, that has 5 sides? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What plane figure, it means a flat figure, has 5 sides? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Raise your hand. 5 sides? I think I heard it. Pentagon. You're right. You're right. 5 sides has a pentagon. So his base is a pentagon, and then all of his other faces are triangles. They all have 3 sides. So he made a pyramid with a pentagon base. So you can make his little shape there. And then at the bottom it says my shape. So try to create a shape that has 6 vertices, that has 6 of the balls. And then once you do that, try to make other shapes. I also made a cube. See if you can make a cube. Take some time, play around, have fun, stay curious, and I'll see you next time. Bye.